Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today for this stream, we're going to be ranking each NHL team's offseason so far. So when we talk about the offseason, we're talking about trades, free agency, the draft as well can be a factor, or any key personnel changes like bringing in a new head coach, new general manager, and that sort of thing. So we're going to do this for every single team here, and no matter how much you know about the NHL, know these certain teams, I certainly want to have you here, no matter who you cheer for and that sort of thing. So anyway, welcome. It's great to have you here during the off season. Of course, we have a few months ahead of us before, we really, can talk about predictions and that sort of thing for the upcoming year. But anyway, hey, it's great to have you here. Nick joining us here, Windy City Hockey, and congratulations on eclipsing 1,000 subscribers. I'm very proud of you, good sir. And hopefully you can get that stuff monetized immediately. Dean popping in here as well. The regulars are ready to show up here, and I hope you're enjoying your Stanley Cup celebration. So it's great to have our members here, of course. Ethan joining in. Hello, hello. Yeah, so once we get to about, I don't know, like about 20 people or so, then I think we can really get into the grading. Hey, what's up, Rails? The way we're going to do this is we're going to use Tier Maker, of course. So we have, standard grades here, right? A, B, C, D, F. I also have an A+ to kind of replace the S tier. But anyway, we'll have ourselves a poll here in the chat, and so that's how you cast your vote. So it'll be pretty easy. King of the Surf, the newest addition to our members there. Thank you for supporting my work. It's good to have you here. Really, Nick, you know what? I remember experiencing a bit of a drop when that happened to me too. So I hope that's not, actual users. I hope it's just some sort of data error or something like that. But anyway, I wish you the best of luck with getting monetized nonetheless. Rosato, hey, what's going on? Hope you're enjoying the off season. And Bill Zito was actually pretty darn busy, I have to say. And CJ, hello. We'll be talking about another busy team in the Pittsburgh Penguins, certainly. Let's go, Isles. Yeah, that's one of the less busy off seasons that I would have to think. Anyway, happy to have Trevor Lewis back. Yeah, that one kind of surprised me. Kind of came out in left field there. Mike, what's going on? Thanks for hopping in. Yeah. Oh, and another busy team here, the Detroit Red Wings. Okay, well, good. We have the right fans here to weigh in on their teams. And what I might actually do is I might use your grades and compare them to how I would grade and make a separate video about that. If you haven't already, check out my off-season power rankings. I just put that up on the channel yesterday. As for the Wings, you're going to give them a B. I think a lot of teams are probably going to get Bs, but they made moves. They actually were more aggressive than I would have thought. And I think that what they gained is certainly better than what they lost if you look at just the offseason. If you bring it back to when they traded away Bertuzzi, for example, or Hronek, that's maybe a different conversation. But yeah, Kyle Davidson is proving to be one of the best GMs in the league. Owen, what's going on? Actually, they did already extend Jordan Staal on, I think, a 4-year deal. I want to say 3 or 4 years at like only $4 million annually. So I think that's a good deal for a very proven, third line center and somebody who leads the team. Winter Classic tickets? Oh my God! All right. Well, I'll get in touch with you if I plan to go. I don't know how much those tickets cost, but I'd be on a tight budget. But still, I really do have an interest in going to that game. Jake, what's going on? Man, everybody's here. This is great, or at least all of our regulars are here. That's what we need first and foremost. Will the Knights go back to back? That could actually be its own subject for a future video. I don't think that they've lost so much to where they couldn't do it next year. You're happy with the Hawks off season so far? Yeah, I think that they've done what they've had to do. Bring in some veterans for some of the younger talent because it's going to take a little while until those roster spots can really be solidified by some of the prospects out there. My way too early season predictions. Oh boy. I don't know if I can stomach that just yet. It's not a bad idea though. It would definitely get views. It would get views and probably a lot of salt, honestly. Gonna have 2 stadium series. Yeah. We also got Cortana hanging out with us. And if you guys toss her or toss me a super chat, I'll be sure to give her a treat on your behalf. You can even just send me $1 and we'll give her a treat. We have some blueberries here, and we also have ourselves some organic apple that I cut up. Here, down. Yeah, it's a good girl. All right. Well, everybody's a very enthusiastic bunch. So you know what we'll do? We'll get to the grading right now, if that's cool with you. Taves needs to announce his retirement. That's true. Paid $3.14 for 2. Really? So you paid about $1. Oh, geez. Wow. $8.08 total? $90 processing fee. That's horrible, man. I wonder if I could somehow find a way to get one without having to do that. All right, let's go to our first team, everybody. So I'm going to put up a poll here, and you'll catch on here. So the first team that we're going to talk about are the Calgary Flames. All right, so you have 4 options here. We only have 4 options for polls. So I've combined A and A+. I've combined D and F. That's a failing grade. So unless you want to say D's get degrees. So anyway, with the Calgary Flames, this is a team that's already lost Tyler Toffoli. They also lost Milan Lucic. He decided to go back to Boston. Super chat for a super treat. Hey, thanks so much, Nick. I appreciate that, dude. All right, let's give Cortana a treat on your behalf. A super treat. So I think that's a great way to position it, right? All right, let's give her a nice little handful here. Apple, we'll get a nugget of a baked good here. We'll get in a blueberry, 2 blueberries, and some apple for her. Thank you. Good girl, Cortana. The viewers love you. Oh shoot, there's Dustin. What's going on, man? Thanks for hopping in here. Hope you're enjoying the Cup Selly. All right. So, how many votes do we have so far on the Flames? We have 9 votes on the Flames. All right. So we've got 14 people here. At least that's what I see. So yeah, if we get 15 votes, I think we'll kind of consider that threshold. Flames, see, because they haven't gained anything huge, but they haven't lost anything huge. Well, I would counter that in the sense that Toffoli was their best player last year. Is he their best player on the roster? Otherwise, probably not, considering the seasons that Huberdeau had the year before. What about soccer? I know the MLS season is about midway right now. I don't really have so much more to say about soccer. I've worked in MLS for a little bit, but yeah. Everyone wants to leave. Yeah, that's a big storyline. You know, we could be talking about players like Noah Hannafin, Elias Lindholm, Mikhail Backlund, and they have a lot of other defensive free agents or free agents on their blue line going into 2024. All right. How many votes do we have on the Flames? We're still stuck on nine votes. So get those votes in if you haven't already. There's 10. Do I hear 11? Bring out my Jim Dickens imitation. They could definitely rebound next year. It's going to be really hard. I mean, they still have talent on the team. I mean, they're just 2 years removed from being awesome. Although, a couple of the key personnel has changed since last year's trade. But they are going to have a new head coach. They have themselves a new general manager. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they kind of feel things out this year, if they try to, keep the negotiations open with some of those players, right? Man United, you're a Red Devil, are you? They're never going anywhere if they don't get rid of Markstrom. I used to be a big Markstrom fan, and I mean, he was really good, not this last season, but 2 seasons ago. But yeah, he had a bad year, and he has, I think, a full no-move clause, though, so it's going to be hard to get rid of him. Who else did they get? I mean, really, this is about it. It's Yegor, if you're looking... Oh, wait, you know what I didn't do, guys? Shoot. I kind of took away the purpose of this. So what I actually have here is I have... There we go. See, this is what you guys need. So here we have our tier rankings. And we have... on the right side of my screen here, you can see their key additions and subtractions. That was what I used in my power rankings video yesterday. So you can ignore the 24 at the top left and just focus on those left and right columns there. Yeah, I figured that would help. But yeah, Yegor Sharangovich is easily their biggest addition. Dryden Hunt, automatic F. All All right, I'll give you guys about 15 seconds, so please do chime in if you haven't already, and then we'll move on to the next team because I don't want to, keep people waiting around. Lucic is a huge loss. I mean, we're talking about like prime Boston Bruins Milan Lucic that we're going to see next year, right? Who knows? I mean, with the Bruins roster so depleted, they might have a fairly sizable role for him. All right, let's close this poll out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record all of our rankings here, and then that way we can compare grades to, team by team. So right now this is pretty clear, right? This is a C. Could it get pushed down further later on? Yeah, it could, just based on where some of those other teams rank. First ballot Hall of Famer to Dogwater in the second round of last year. Yeah, I mean, that team just got exposed. All right. Predict the Bruins will actually miss the playoffs next year. I got to see what happens with Bergeron. And I mean, I assume they'll keep Swayman. All right, next team we got are the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'll pull up their offseason moves in just a little bit. Your F. All right, the next team here are the. Hold on. Yeah. There we go. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, the Lightning in the offseason, they lost a fair share of players, including their fourth line of Pat Maroon, Corey Perry, and Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. They lost Alex Killorn in free agency. They lost Ross Colton as he was picked up by the He was picked up by the Avalanche. And gaining, they got Connor Sherry, Luke Glendening from the Stars. Calvin DeHaan was kind of a seventh defenseman with the Hurricanes. And now Jonas Johansson could be the backup there for Andrei Vasilevsky. So let me know your thoughts. And guys, you can definitely take into consideration how the teams performed at the draft as well. I don't have any graphics supporting that sort of thing. So, when we talk about the Flyers, for example, I don't think we should give them a D or an F because, they got Michkov, right? I mean, at least they drafted somebody that they have a lot of faith in. Or you can talk about, a higher grade for the Hawks for, drafting Bedard. So I'll be sure to point that out if I can get around to that. Riley, what's going on? Hope you're enjoying the Cup celebration still. This is tough. They have lost a lot of depth, but they still have a solid core. That's a good point. They still have their top players for the most part. Although Killorn, he's been a great contributor, not just since they won the Stanley Cups, but going back before that a few years, even going back to 2015. How we doing there, Owen? All right. Rosado. I wouldn't expect anything otherwise. But yeah, that's a lot of depth that they lost. All right. How are we doing here? We had 13 votes on the Flames. We got 14 here, so I'll give you guys another 15 seconds or so. Happy they got rid of Brian Elliott. I don't know if Jonas Johansson is much of an upgrade, though. Who knows? There are other goaltenders out there, I'm sure, besides some of those marquee players that we're talking about in trade rumors and that sort of thing. All right. There you go, Riley. Yeah, you should do that for sure. All right, man. We're going to close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So right now, the Lightning are polling at 42% for B, 28% for C, and 7% for a top grade. And we have 21% for DF. Okay. So, of course, the plurality was B, right? That's the most votes going toward one single rating. But D and F and C together combined for a big percentage as well, 50% basically. Nonetheless, just because we're early into this, we'll put the Lightning in B. But again, they might not stay right there. Okie dokie. Yeah, Pat Maroon, he's going on to Minnesota, right? All right, next up, we've got the New York Rangers. I'm going to get the poll up in just a moment here. All right, A plus, B, C, D, and F. Okay. All right. Now, with the New York Rangers, they added Blake Wheeler at a very affordable cap hit. They also got Jonathan Quick as a potential backup for Shesterkin. However, they lost a couple of players, especially from the trade deadline, right? Patrick Kane and Vlad Tarasenko spotlight that. And also, they have a new head coach. Out is Gerard Gallant, and in comes Peter Laviolette. Yeah, Nick, I agree with you. I think that Corey Perry is a good signing for them, honestly. Because he had a lot of success early in his career, around some great veterans too. Good signings at low contracts, like low cap hits. Where is Tarasenko even going? Great question. Some people think that, or there are some speculators out there that he could end up with the Hurricanes. They've also been, known to express interest in Erik Karlsson, so they can't get both. Obviously, Tarasenko would be a lot better of a financial commitment, probably. Artemi Panarin's hair. Oh, really? He cut it off? I didn't even know that. Let's see here. You say he's going to go to Carolina? Eric Gustafsson. Yeah, he was a flash in the pan for 1 year, just about. Quick has won a cup with every team he's played for. Fair point. All right. So once we get to like 15 plus views, then we can. Okay, good. We have 16 votes. Very good, everybody. Let's give you about 15 more seconds to vote if you haven't already. There's Toria. How you doing? Let's see here. Oh, we got the Avalanche in just a few picks here. Artemi Panarin looks like Steve Buscemi with no hair. That's funny. Yeah, I haven't seen what he looks like. The losses definitely outweigh the additions, but they're still off-season time. I don't know how their cap situation is. It's a little tight because remember, they still have to Keandre Miller and Alexis Lafreniere. Is the Gustafsson from Minnesota? No, he's from. You're thinking of Philip Gustafsson. He's the goaltender for the Wild. So Eric Gustafsson is a defenseman. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, nice job, everybody. So 62% for B tier. I think they're going to comfortably land there for now. Although we did have 18% for D and F, 12% for C tier, and 6% for A tier. All right, so they're going to go in the B. They're rated definitely better than Tampa is, so we'll put them at the front of the B for now. Okay, now we're going to get to our next team, and that is the St. Louis Blues. So give me a moment while I type this up. Blues, A plus, B, C. Oh, you voted A for the Rangers, huh? You were thinking of Stu for that one, huh? All right. Hi-ho from Germany. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, Jack. All right, so do you want to see the next team here? That's the Blues. So, it's a team that did lose some key players during the regular season. In the offseason, they traded for Kevin Hayes, albeit they also, they only have to eat half of his salary. They get back McEachern. They lose Thomas Greiss. Joel Hofer, I think, would be the backup next year. One other thing with the Blues, they also had 3 first-round picks at the draft, right? So you can definitely factor that into your decision. You expected the Blues to do way more? Yeah, I'm kind of concerned that they're not really committing to one thing or another. The Blues need to get rid of Binnington. The fans that I've talked to, not a ton of them, but they've been saying that it wasn't so much Binnington this past season; it was more of like his defense. And I think it's both, certainly. But Binnington to me, it's just not a good look when he he's whacking at players and mouthing off and that sort of thing. They're gonna coast for next season. Yeah, I mean that's what I would think. Definition of doing nothing. Which sucks because like 2 years ago, if Binnington hadn't gotten injured for however you want to talk about that, the Avalanche, we know how awesome of a team they were, but the Blues could have taken them to Game 7, I think, because Binnington was playing pretty well. All right, how many votes are we at this moment? 16 votes. Okay, I'll give you about 15 more seconds. So sound off if you haven't already. He's a goon. Yeah, not in the fun sense of the word either. Trying to do his best Ron Hextall imitation out there. Hey, did you guys see? I saw a video yesterday of a goaltender just take a big old whack at somebody who was trying to do a Michigan and then slashed the defender. Not to mention what Chicklets posted yesterday with this rowdy ass game in Halifax. Speaking of goon. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. That is a C tier. Okay, so we've got 18B, 62 for C, and 18 for DF. Okay, so how does this grade out compare to the Flames? Is this worse than the Flames or better? It's actually a little bit better than Calgary. So we're going to put the Blues here. Again, guys, you can factor the team's performance at the draft. That's part of the offseason too. Is Greiss a loss? He isn't more than a borderline backup. Yeah, he's getting late in his career, and they have Joel Hofer, who had a fantastic year in the AHL. So I think they might give him a good opportunity this year. All right. Speaking of another team that we expect a little bit more activity in the offseason, we've got the Winnipeg Jets. And again, you can consider their draft performance. All right, and let's see here. We got AA+. And by the way, I mentioned this toward the beginning, but toss a super chat my way, and I'll give Cortana a treat. Mike right there dropping one. I'll be sure to spotlight this one. Thank you, dude. You're always so generous. Come to Pittsburgh for opening night for Crosby versus Bedard. That would be amazing. I won't be flying out for that, but I'm considering actually making a trip next season. So I'll be chatting with folks a little bit more about that. Not right away, but fairly soon. But thank you. Let's give Cortana a couple treats on your behalf. And folks, by the way, if you need to figure out what the Jets have done in the offseason so far, I've got them right here. Got to think of that Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. They actually got some depth for that. Here, Cortana, come over this way. Come lie down. Lie down, please. There you go. Oh, good girl. Oh, there it is. What a good girl. I don't have a kitty to boop, right? So, speaking of Tom Grossi, he recently, completed that 30 in 30. That was incredible. Flying all around the country to see various NFL arenas, stadiums. So I'd love to do something like that, but I'm thinking that, there might be an opportunity next year where I can go travel and actually do some Twisted Wrister stuff, meet some viewers and that sort of thing. Bennington is like Tuukka Rask without the talent. Ooh, that's harsh. I mean, at least he has a Stanley Cup as a starter, because Rask doesn't have one as a starter, right? All right, let's see what we got ourselves here. How many votes do we have for the Jets? 16 votes. Okay, I'm going to give you about 15 more seconds for this one. The Jets have been moving in a good way. I don't know about how all the pieces will fit. But they fleeced LA in the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. I for someone who was kind of a distraction, and I'm sure he's not the only piece of that conundrum, right? I think the return was actually fairly good. All right, let's close this out. Am I going to do a play-by-play for opening night? Ooh, that's a great idea. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to commit to it, but I like your thinking. I might do that. I might. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wow, this is really divided. Wow, this is certainly divided. Okay, hold on now. I kind of have an idea of how to do this. All right, so B got 33%, but so did D and F. A got 16%, and so did C. So in my opinion, the Jets have to be right in the middle of this. So I'm going to put them for right now. I'm going to put them at the very end of the B tier. But again, that sort of thing can change. Lautaro. Oh, from Argentina. Hey, bienvenidos. Thank you for joining us here. And let's go Hawks. All right. That's so cool. Blackhawks fan in Argentina. I don't know if you ever you might have appeared in a stream earlier under a different profile name. At least that's how my memory is working here. But anyway, hey, I'm happy to have you here. All right. This is a fun topic anyway. Next up, we got the Colorado Avalanche. A team that they're look, Joe Sakic had to do some stuff in the offseason that he wasn't thrilled about, certainly. I think he's done a good job with the situation, and I'll be sure to pull up all their major offseason transactions. Okay, we got the Avs. Here are the Avs, okay? So they unload Alex Newhook. They get a couple of draft picks for him, like really good draft picks. I think it was a late first and a second, early second. They flip one to Tampa and get Ross Colton as an addition for that. They take on half of Ryan Johansson's salary. They only have to pay him $4 million for the next 2 years for a team that lost JT Compher. And of course, that void hadn't been filled as much when Nazem Kadri had left. So I think bringing in Johansson is good. And this is unfortunately a bit of a cap casualty. But even so, I think that they've positioned themselves well with the salary cap. Super overpaid, $12.6 million. He is the highest paid player in the NHL today. And yeah, Erod, they lost him as well. Favorite hockey channel. Oh boy, this one's tough because it's like it kind of varies just based on what I'm in the mood for. But what I got started with, Post to Post and the Hockey Guy. And I still watch that content, 5 years later. And of course, Urinating Trees hockey coverage is super fun too. Flying Fluffy. Yes. Jaws is a gem. You're looking at the Avalanche, a massive boom or bust. Interesting. Avs will not make the playoffs as tactical nuke. That's bold, I think. Because, it's that division. I think that division is going to be weaker this next year. All right, we've got 18 votes. Let's give you about 15 more seconds. Hey, what's going on? How we doing, Afton? That's an Afton greeting. Blah. Yes. Thanks for joining us here. Losing Compher and Newhook. I think that Newhook will benefit from a change of scenery. He'll get more of an opportunity, I would think, with Montreal. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You think the Central already is the worst team? Interesting. Okay, so this one we have 47 in B, 33 in C, not only 9% for DF, and we have 9% for A. Okay, that looks like a strong B tier. Are they ahead of the Rangers? No, they're not ahead of the Rangers. Are they ahead of the Lightning? Pretty neck and neck. So I'm going to make a judgment call here. I will place the Avalanche ahead of the Lightning. I think that Sakic has done a good job given their situation. All right. Now we're going to go to our next team, which is the Seattle Kraken. I'm certainly excited that they've got something to build on somewhat. And again, you can of course factor in how the team drafted too. I think that's a big piece, especially for a team like the Kraken, who are just entering their third offseason, really. So in the offseason, they lost Carson Soucy and Daniel Sprong, who I think had 27 goals for them. Morgan Geekie as well, and Donato. But they do kind of make up for Soucy by bringing in Brian Dumoulin. They get Belmar to help with like penalty killing, winning faceoffs in the defensive zone. And they get Kyler Yamamoto, a Washington native, Spokane, raise up. So those are the big changes. So not a whole lot of major activity for them. But this isn't, you're not grading based on how much they did in the offseason. It's kind of like relative to where they want to be for this next year and for the next couple of years, especially with Seattle. Oh, CJ, you're good, man. You're good. Go Kraken. Oh, you like the Kraken? Awesome. Yeah, they are the closest team for me, or at least by car. The last wild card was Avs and Yotes. I don't know if the Yotes are quite there, but I wouldn't be surprised if like 2 years from now they found a way to get in. I think the Atlantic might be I think the Atlantic is actually the strongest division now, Jake. I think the only team that you can count out of the playoffs there are the Canadiens. Free agency signings were mid. All right, so what are we at right now? We're at 18 votes. Okay, I'll give you guys about 15 seconds. Geeky was a real loss. He played his junior hockey in Washington. I know that. But yeah, he wasn't, I don't know, I didn't see enough consistency from him, but that kind of varies just depending on what sort of opportunity you have. Wings and it has cup final. I don't know, maybe 2 years from now. Maybe. When you have 3, almost 5 rebuilding teams in one division, the Central is definitely the worst. Good point. All right. Pacific will always be the best. Pacific's getting stronger. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yeah, tactical nuke. I agree with you. It's going to be fun because the teams at the top, a couple of them are getting weaker. And of course, there are some other teams below them that are getting stronger. All right, Kraken 47. Got a lot of B's so far. So we will re-rank a little bit throughout the video. 47% for B, 31% for C, 15% for A, and 5% for D. So basically, this is tied with the Avalanche. I'll put them a little bit ahead because they got more love for the A tier. Okay. East is stronger than West. I generally agree because you got 2 banger teams in the Metro division. I haven't really talked about them. And the Rangers could be one of those teams as well. All right. The Blue Jackets could be an up-and-comer. It's just, I don't think it's going to be this next year. All right, Canucks. Where is Theo? I know you're a Canucks fan. The Vancouver Canucks. All right, Canucks. A plus. That's okay, Jack. Everybody's got a bias, so we know. All right. There he is. There's Theo. Okay, so what did the Canucks do in this offseason? I actually kind of like what they did. Not super aggressive. This is a team that bought out Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That will sting, absolutely, but they kind of had to do it this year. They got Carson Soucy. That's a good addition. Teddy Bluger for some sandpaper there on the 4th line. Ian Cole for a little depth on defense when you have Ethan Bear. He's going to miss the whole year, and Kyle Burrows going to my Sharks. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Canucks. This is a team that finished 20-12-4 under Rick Tocchet. So there you go. All right. You hope the Hawks would sign Ethan Bear? Yeah, that would make sense to me. All right, nice work, everybody. Just Teddy's a good pickup for the PK. Yeah, the Canucks last couple of years have been, I don't know how they did with Tocchet, but they've been garbage on the penalty kill. Not to throw any shade at our friend Bruce Boudreau. We do certainly love Gabby on this channel. The Oilers are the team with the best chance of returning to the Cup for the Canadian teams. Right now, if we were to look at next year, I think yes. It's still them and Toronto. Hopefully, Ottawa can be in that conversation pretty soon, too. I hope Korpisalo works out well for them, even though I have my doubts. But yeah, the Oilers, all the Canadian teams have work to do. But I think that, the Oilers, they need some help with I think maybe it's like their actual defensive game plan. Let's see here. Canucks should have gotten Bedard. That would have been nuts. Absolute nuts. It'll be interesting to see when he, travels over there this year. Are the only Canadian contenders? Yeah. And some people would say the Leafs really aren't contenders, as stacked as their forward group still is. All right. So we got 19 votes. I'll give you about 15 more seconds. So cast a vote if you've yet to do so. You would get an Ethan Bear. Oh, with his with his native spelling. That would be sweet, dude. I'd like that. I think the NHL should do more of that for like players, from where they're from. More you know, more names with umlauts and circumflexes and that sort of thing. That'd be pretty sweet. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ranking of the Sharks jersey history. Not here. I might do a members one or something like that. Or eventually, if the Sharks get good, maybe we'll have more Sharks content here. Still a good idea. Okay. 54% C tier. Okay, that's pretty telling. 22B, 4 for A, and 15 for DF. Okay. So they're going to go in the C tier for now. Are they worse than the Flames? No, they're not. Are they worse than the Blues? No, they're not. Okay, so the Canucks are going to go to the front of the C tier for now. Okay. Rank Canadian provinces by NHL talent. Oh boy. That would take some research for sure. I'm not entirely opposed to that. All right. Let's go to our next team. That is, the Capitals. A plus, B, C, D, and F. Okay. All right. The Washington Capitals in the offseason, a little quiet for them. They were more active at the trade deadline when they knew they were falling out of contention. So their acquisitions are spotlighted by Max Pacioretty on a very affordable deal, and Joel Edmondson. I think they gave up a 3-round pick, but they didn't have to they didn't take on his whole salary. They lose Connor Sherry, Connor Brown, and Craig Smith. And by the way, it's not Laviolette. I know I made a typo here. I fixed it in my video with a secret. But yeah, they have a new head coach, and it's going to be Spencer Carberry, not Peter Laviolette. We know he already left. Also, you got to think, are they going to trade Kuznetsov? They did have a top 10 pick this year. Who did they get? Did they get Ryan Leonard? I can't remember. But they did actually have a chance to, put a good piece in their prospect pool because they don't really have that many pieces. So those are just some factors to weigh here. Let's see here. Is there an update on the Erik Karlsson trade front? Or is my friend just sending me a Karlsson trade proposal? The Caps didn't get better or worse. They'll miss the playoffs again. I mean, I think there's a fairly clear separation between the top 3 in the Metro still and the middle 3. And you could maybe add Columbus to that mix too. Who knows? Oh, just a speculative trade for Karlsson to the Penguins. Interesting. When does Pacioretty get healthy? I don't know exactly what that timetable looks like. Oh, Select a Boy. What's going on? Oh, no, you're saying that Nova Scotia is the best, Toria. At least in recent years, you could maybe argue that. You definitely have to take into consideration quality and not just so much quantity. You're being such a good girl, Cortana. Hey, man, Selected Boy. Hope you're having a great off season. All right. So let's get to your results. I'll give you about 15 more seconds. Cast your vote if you've yet to do so. Got to write this down here. It's a sticky note. Bloop. All right. We've got the Capitals. All right. Let's you don't think he's going to be able to play much again? That's awful. I mean, it's awful that's a possible outcome because, he was still producing very well. And I mean, God, if he was on the Hurricanes, if they had Svechnikov, I think that the playoffs could have gone a little bit differently for the Canes. My bias is showing very clearly, but I still think, indeed. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're disappointed. You're friends with a Capitals fan. Well, your girlfriend's a Flyers fan, so. And that's probably a common insult for Penguins fans to dish out. Okay, so we have 45 in C tier, 22 for B, and 22 for the bottom tier as well. I would think that this goes in C tier. Now, let's do a little comparison here, okay? So, are the Capitals ranked worse than the Canucks? Let's see here. Are they ranked worse than the Canucks? No, actually, they're about the same. I'm going to put the Capitals 1862, 2245. Yeah, I'm going to put the Capitals right next to the Canucks, right about here. All right, a lot of middling grades so far. I'm sure that we'll be able to shake things up, though. Okay, so the next team are the Montreal Canadiens. Bedard shouldn't be rushed. I mean, I'd be surprised if he wasn't on their team in the first year. But of course, in his interviews, he's saying his goal is to make the team. That's what I recall from the draft. B, C, and D, F. Only guarantee will be Ovechkin moving closer to Gretzky's record. Yeah, and you would think that not next year, but in 2024-25, he should break the goal scoring record. Okay, the Montreal Canadiens in the offseason, their key additions include Alex Newhook in that trade with the Avalanche and Elias Anderson. That's about the biggest names I could pull for the Habs. Losing Edmondson, Drouin, Gurianov, and Tierney. So losing mostly veterans for a team that, of course, is going to be focused on its young talent, shouldering the load going forward. And they do have some, you got to take into consideration who they drafted. I think that could certainly be a factor here as well, as they got David Reinbacher with the 5th overall pick. So yes, y'all let me know. Cortana, that's not exactly appropriate for the on camera here. For Sid to tie Gretzky's record this season. What would that be for anyway? Would that be most like point per game seasons, or because I'm not sure I know which one that is. You want the Habs to become a dynasty again. It's crazy that, I mean, just generally speaking, it's been 30 years since, 30-year gap between cups, 30-year gap for Canadian teams and that sort of thing. All right. Point per game season. Okay. Hey, look at me. How about that? All right. How many votes do we have for the Canadiens so far? 18 votes. Okay. Give you about 20 more seconds. So cast your vote if you've yet to do so. Bedard's going to score in his first game. I hope he scores at least a goal in his first home game for sure. Actually, I hope he fills the net the whole season and the Hawks win as many games as they possibly can, so my Sharks can have a better draft position. Giddy up. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so 50% in the B tier. And we also have 25, 15% for C tier, 10% for A tier. Okay, so would this go in the C tier? I would think so. Where do they rank against the Canucks, for example? 22, 54. Oh, wait, I accidentally did that wrong. I said that. Oh, no. They're going in the B tier. Excuse me. My bad, folks. Or at least I would think they go in the B tier. Where do they rank? Are they better than the Jets? They are better than the Jets. Are they better than the Avalanche? 47-33. That's 80 right there. 22 or 50-15. Okay. Let me just make sure I have this right, everybody. Tampa was 42-28, and Montreal is 50-15. Okay. I'm going to have them, let's see, 42-28, 50-15. Yeah, it's not quite as good. I'm going to put the Habs right about here. Excuse me, right about here. I think that makes sense. All right. Let me go to our next team here. That's the Bruins. Oh, boy. This one's interesting, right? Because, like, with the Bruins, we know that their offseason is probably not complete just yet. But do your best. All right. Or your worst. E, F. All right, so let's look at what the Bruins have done so far in the offseason. This is as of a day or two ago. Okay, so we know that things are not certain regarding Bergeron. Krejci, maybe a little bit more likely that he's gone. But they've lost, players that they acquired at the trade deadline. They lost Taylor Hall. They lost Nick Foligno. They gained Jason Megna. I don't know why I have him first, but we have James Van Riemsdyk, Kevin Shattenkirk, Morgan Geekie, and they get back Milan Lucic. They still have to sign Jeremy Swayman, at least the last time I checked. And let me know your thoughts on this team. Where's the Stars logo? Oh, it's just a little bit over to the right here. So it's just not in the frame right now. Bruins got worse. Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue that they improved. Habs D, they did nothing. They didn't do very much, that's for sure. But maybe that was their strategy, right? To they don't want to shake things up with the young core that they're building. I don't know. I'm just throwing an argument your way. They will still make the playoffs. And no matter what, it's going to get harder to make the playoffs in that division. So, yeah, I'm curious. I did have them fourth in my power rankings, though. I think that's appropriate just given the season that they had. And, I mean, they still have, Pasternak, McAvoy, a tremendous goaltending tandem, all that stuff. All right. How many votes do we have on Boston? We have 21 votes. I'll give you all about 20 more seconds to vote if you've yet already. Broom's going to be bad. Panthers went from 1 to 17 over the course of a year. Yeah. I mean, the Flames, they went from what, like 3 to 16 or something like that? Were the Bruins supposed to be bad this past year? I actually had them missing the playoffs. I can't remember if I predicted that before they got Bergeron and Krejci back. I don't know. Either way, I look like a fool. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. All right, I think we have our first at least D tier. So I'm not going to put them in F just yet. Play I don't want to hate like that. 43, 30, 17, and 8. Okay. That's the Bruins. Okay. This one's pretty easy. Let's put Boston in the D tier. All right. Now we've got the Durs, New York Islanders. Here is what Lou Lamoriello has done so far. Also, they extended Scott Mayfield 5 more years. I accept a transition year well run with Bedard as a figurehead. I don't think it's best to accelerate his growth and demand great things from him in year one, maybe a bit cautious. Well, yeah, you want some of the veterans to kind of take up that mantle. I'm not saying that Corey Perry is going to score 20 goals, but it's more like he needs to lead by example with how he plays the game. Nick Foligno would be the same. And you can say the same about like Ryan Donato. Donato might actually be expected to score over 15 goals. Didn't know Parisi left. Yeah, he just hasn't signed with them, right? Guys, let me know if I'm wrong here, but Zach Parisi, last time I checked, is a free agent. Yeah, he's currently a UFA. Sorokin's contract overpaid? I don't know. He's at least a top 3 goaltender in the NHL. Because I think he's still paid less than Vasilevsky, isn't he? He's paid less than Bobrovsky, obviously. All right. How many votes? We have 22 votes. All right. I'll give you 15 more seconds, folks. Cast your vote if you've yet to do so. You wouldn't pay a goalie more than 5. Well, you make a good point in the sense that look at the couple of the goaltending tandems that we've seen win Stanley Cups recently. Aiden Hill and whoever they had back there as a backup, in that case, Brossoit or Quick. And then, of course, the year before, Kemper's had a great career, but he's never been like a top 5 goaltender. He hasn't been in that conversation. So I think that these days you can actually win as long as your tandem is somewhat reliable. The last 2 years have been surprising in that sense. The dinosaur moves are the right decision. Lou is the dinosaur, that's for sure. All right. Closing it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So the Islanders, like I said, we'll be kind at least initially, but 47% in the D tier, 30, 21 in B, and nothing in A. Okay. So they're going to also go in the D tier, right next to the Bruins, because their voting is basically identical. All right. Boom. Next team, we've got ourselves the Detroit Red Wings. Where are Toria and Dan? All right, the Red Wings. Here we go. They have been busy. We can also consider how they drafted, too. Don't forget, guys, you toss a super chat my way, I will be sure to give Cortana a treat, even if it's just $1. Every buck helps the channel and Cortana's treat fund. All right, so look at this, man. They get Compher. I mean, that's one hell of a signing considering he was an Av before this. So Denver's probably not very happy, especially I'm a big Compher fan. Klim Kostin, who actually turned it on pretty well for the Oilers. Fisher, Gostisbehere, really good year with Carolina as a third pairing defenseman. Justin Hall and James Reimer. Reimer would back up Reimer or Alex Lyon would back up Ville Husso. I like the Husso signing. Daniel Sprong, a good low-key signing. But they lost a lot of depth on their roster as well, including Philip Zadina, who just might need to find a new home if he's going to stay in the NHL. So how many Yzer plan believers do we have here? We shall see. All right. Ready to make a jump? The goaltending is the weak point. Yeah, I mean, we just talked about goaltending tandems. But even so, yeah, Reimer had a bad year. The year before, he was great with my Sharks. Cirrus, what's going on? Where we put the Stars? Okay, so the Stars, we got a little ways to go. But yeah, that's one I'm curious about because, was that a missed opportunity to buy out Suter? That's kind of one point of discussion there. Should they have maybe upgraded from Scott Wedgwood as the backup? And also, how highly can we rate the Matt Duchene acquisition? Detroit's like the Habs using a second line as their first line. I can kind of see what you're saying there. Lucas Raymond had not a horrible sophomore slump by any means, but yeah, he didn't build. At least I'm just talking about putting the puck in the net, basically. So yeah, does year 3 actually see him kind of return to form or make even more progress beyond that? All right, we got 26 votes. Awesome. And it's great that the Red Wings are becoming more relevant. Lots of fans are pouring in. Anyway, let's close things out in 15 seconds. So cast your vote if you've yet to do so. Pia Suter is available. Yeah, he was great for the Hawks, wasn't he? And I mean, he can be had on a really friendly deal too. All right, let's close things out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. This is interesting because we have a fairly well-dispersed grade across the board for the most part, although the A tier does lead our poll. Let's see here. We have 33 for C, and we have 25 for B, and just like a single vote for the bottom. All right, so the Rangers are the highest rated team so far in the offseason with 62% for the B tier. So you know what? Even though they got 33% for C tier, I think the fact that they got clearly the most for the A tier, the previous high was only 15%. So I can't not put the Red Wings in the A tier. Not A+, at least not for now, but we're going to do that. Okay? Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go to the defending Eastern Conference champions. Hey, now, the Florida Panthers. And this was another busy offseason. Let's take a look here. A+, B, C, D, F. So, yeah. Panthers, they lost Anthony Duclair. I don't know why they traded him. He was just a $3 million cap hit. They lost Gudas to free agency with the Ducks. Alex Lyon, who did help them get to the playoffs. And overall, a bunch of depth beyond that. They gained themselves Evan Rodriguez, always a very versatile forward. Oliver Ekman-Larsson. They get Dmitry Kulikov and also Mike Riley for their defensive core. And so, yeah, that means that their backup goaltender right now would be, well, Spencer Knight. Yeah. So they lost, of course, Alex Lyon to the Red Wings. Anyway, you don't like the moves the Panthers made? They lost Eric Stahl. Yeah, because Eric Stahl didn't. He hasn't signed. He's an unrestricted free agent, right? Yeah, he's a UFA right now. So they could always bring him back, right? But they're not in a good spot right now. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. Yeah, they did have some injuries, and like Spencer Knight wasn't even able to play in the playoffs just because took the leave of absence. Have fun with Kulikov. You're happy he's gone. Erod Stolars, yeah. Now Stolars didn't play well last year, but he had been a really good backup for the Ducks for a couple seasons there. So you know what? That's not a bad. If you can have him for like 1.5 or less, that's a good contract to take on. As kind of a reinsurance if like Knight doesn't pan out. Florida A tier. Oh, you like the Panthers, Afton? That's cool. They have Reinhart. They still have Reinhart, Montour, and Kachuk, and Verhaeghe. He scored. Don't forget, he scored. I think 43 goals this past year, or 42. All right. Catch you later, Owen. Thanks for joining us, though. Got 27 votes. Awesome. Let's give it about 15 more seconds, everybody. No one wants to retire first. Yeah, really. Was depth last season. I think that, yeah, they were, that the fourth line wasn't the sharpest. I know Lomberg had a bit of an injury bug there. Oh, yeah. Carter Verhaeghe, one of my favorites. All right. Let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Okay. So we have C tier at 44%. Am I going to put them in the C tier? Because we have 22% for A tier, 18 for B tier, but we also have 14 for the lowest. So the plurality here is C tier. Now, we rated the Canucks as C tier as well, but the Panthers grade out better than the Canucks. How do the Canucks compare to the Winnipeg Jets? The Jets the Jets were pretty across the board. So I don't know if I can. I think what we'll do with the Panthers is because the Jets do grade out better, I'll put the Panthers at the front of the C tier. I think that's probably the most fair for right now. Ooh, here's another interesting one. We got the LA Kings. Because in some ways, I'm optimistic that their moves could pay off, and I'm also pessimistic that their moves could blow up in their face. At least they have some good prospects or younger players on their roster right now. All right, let's go to the Kings. And Selected Boy, don't forget about Anton Lundell too. Sam Bennett, right? All right, so the key moves here, of course, the Dubois trade and the signing on an 8-year deal. They lose Korpisalo. That's probably the biggest loss, I think, just positionally, because now their goaltending tandem, I think, is like Phoenix Copley and Cam Talbot. They bring back Trevor Lewis after he was in Calgary for a bit. And yeah, that trade for Dubois cost them Alex Iafallo, Gabe Velarde, and Rasmus Kupari. They also dealt Sean Dursey. A Kings fan had commented to me that he was really giving the puck away too much. And things kind of changed once they brought in Gavrikov at the trade deadline. All right, we got 20 votes. So I'll give you about 20 more seconds there. Kings get bounced, but they could win around this year. Yeah, Dean, they were intriguing. Yeah, that's kind of how I would characterize it too. How much of a role? What's the bottom six going to look like? Like, is there going to be somebody like a Kaliev or someone who can get elevated into the lineup? Because they do have some firepower in the top six. Anyway, I'm kind of verbal diarrhea there. But I'm curious to see what happens if Brant Clark gets a roster spot, or how much opportunity he could get as we get into training camp and that sort of thing. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so you guys aren't big believers in what Rob Blake has done in the offseason. Only 9% for A tier. I'm kind of surprised to see that. I figured it would have been a little bit higher. 54 for C. And we also have 22. And we have 13. Okay. All right. Now, let me take a look here. How do they grade against the Canucks? Actually, they're nearly identical to the Canucks. They're a little bit better, but are they better than Florida? No, they're not. So LA goes right here. All right. Next team, we've got the Buffalo Sabres. And again, with another team like this, you are more than welcome to consider how the draft went for them. All right, Sabres. A plus, B, C, D, F. Okay. All right, the Sabres didn't really have that busy of an offseason. Some people would argue that that's a good thing given the steps forward that the team has taken over the past couple of seasons. And in doing that, that's a lot of younger players who are contributing to their progression. So if somebody said, hey, they should get a high grade because, they're doing what's right for their franchise right now. And I would say, okay, I think you have a point you can make. At the same time, they have young goaltenders. They got Devin Levi, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and Eric Comrie he didn't work out as well in his first year as the Sabres would have hoped for. That's pretty much all I have to say with them. They added some depth on defense. I think that, and it's, veteran players. And I think that was probably pretty smart considering, you have a fairly young top four on the team, top two pairings. See the Sabres going up and picking up Patrick Kane. The cap space, they don't have nearly as much cap as they did to begin the offseason. I think they were like $15 million, but they still have a little bit of room. Let's take a look. $6.7 million. And again, in the offseason, you can make that happen, right? If you need $1 million or $2 million more, you can make it happen. You're a big believer in UPL. I just want him to stay around because I love the name. It's just too bad that we don't get to hear Rick Jeanneret say it. They might make some noise. Yeah, I think they're a sexy pick to make the playoffs next year. I'm kind of jonesing at the idea of it myself. But yeah, Buffalo Sabres fans have long been starved. Okay. So how many votes do we have? We have 21. Okay, I'll give you about 15 more seconds. Cast your vote if you've yet to do so. How long have we... Okay, we're at just over an hour. Okay. We've done about half the NHL, right? Yeah, this is our... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is going to be the halfway point. You think they're going to make it? All right. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just a reminder, guys, if you're having a good time with us, make sure you do leave a thumbs up. That helps attract other wonderful hockey fans like yourselves to our channel. And of course, see our video description because we do have other channels where you can watch more content from me. All right. 45% for B tier and 20% for A tier. So they got good representation there, at least comparatively. 25 for C and just 8% for D. Okay. So let's see here. They're going to go in the B tier. Do they grade better than the Rangers? Not quite. They're not that much different, though. Actually, they got better. They're better than the Rangers in the sense that, yeah, I'm going to move them ahead of the Rangers because they got more votes for the A tier, and the B tier is not as strong, but even so, I think it's pretty balanced between the two teams. I'll give it to the Sabres, though, because I liked the less is more approach for them. That guy. Boy, I mean, you and I have something in common, right? Let's see here. But that's just the actual team because all the fans who come to my streams and videos are awesome, actually. Okay, let's talk about the Golden Knights. Now in the additions column, this was the best that I could do. All right, start a poll. B, C, Yeah, so this is another one where, like Dean's pointing out here, you could say that less is more for them in a sense. They had a tight cap situation. They were able to extend Barbashev. I thought that was good. They needed to do that. He got himself a good contract. They got themselves a good draft pick. I heard the commentary. Appreciate their selection there. Who they get? Enstrom? I can't remember. But yeah, they didn't lose all that much besides Riley Smith, I don't think. In terms of their key contributors, they have everybody else. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Kessel was a minus, so no biggie. Yeah, I mean, his role with the team had diminished pretty quickly. Afton, the Stars fan. How many more picks do we have until we get to the Stars? We have 5 more teams. Okay. Yeah, the Penguins only had to deal a third rounder for him. That seems pretty standard, I would say, for somebody who can, fit on like the third line. All right, the Knights. Let's take a look. All right, now how are we doing with the poll here? We have 23 votes. Okay, I'll give you 15 more seconds to cast your vote if you've yet to do so. Oh, you'd want to hold on to Patrick Hornqvist as somebody who can be a mentor off the ice in a sense. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wow, this is going to be a tough one. I actually think this will be pretty tough because we have 34% for the C tier, but we have 21 everywhere else. So I might actually put the Knights in B for this one. Let's see here. Who else? Because it's kind of hard to find a team that graded this similarly. I kind of think of the Jets because they were at 1433, 1633. And the Knights are at 34 here. Did they grade out better than the Jets? Actually, they did. Did they grade out? How did they grade compared to the Canadiens? 1050, 1525. Okay. I don't know. I think this is a little tricky to call, but what I'm going to say is just this. The Knights will go in the B tier. They're going to go between Montreal and Winnipeg because Montreal got 50% for the B tier. I'm putting them up there because even though the plurality of votes was for the C tier, they did get 42% for the higher tiers. So I think that that's probably appropriate. Actually, let me just make sure. How did they grade out compared to Florida? How did they grade compared to the Panthers? The Panthers were at 22, 18, 44, 14. So yeah, that's very similar, but the Knights actually got more support for the top 2 tiers. Technically, it's about the same, but they're 10% less. Nah, they're the same. I'm going to put them at the front of the C tier. Both teams that were in the final. All right. Hey, thanks, John. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, check out my other channel, Sudden Death Sports. I talked about the most cursed franchises in like the major 4 leagues. I know some people would say MLS is bigger than, NHL or whatever. All right, next up, we've got ourselves the Blackhawks. Oops. Look at Nick, member for 9 months. I think you and CJ were the first to jump on that. So yeah, if you want more live streams, I do produce additional content for our members. So hit the join button down below for more information on that. We also have other perks like our members community on Instagram and that sort of thing. All right. That 2011 World Series. Oh, God. Oh, Afton, I feel you, man. Anyway, let's look at the Blackhawks. Of course, they drafted Bedard, so I think that has to be a factor. They bring in Taylor Hall in a pretty affordable trade with the Bruins. They pick up some other veterans as well. And, of course, Jonathan Toews. He walks away. I wouldn't be surprised if he retired. How long did they sign Perry for? I think it was just a year. And Stalock hasn't been signed either. So Mrazek and whoever else, you know, I think it's a Swedish guy, right, Nick? Would be their backup. All right. Made great draft picks. Yeah, it's not just Bedard because they did have another first rounder. Perry's just for a year. Yeah, there's only so much that you can take from Corey Perry. All right. 19 votes. Okay, I'll give you guys about 20 seconds if you've yet to cast a vote. Crosby dominated as a rookie. Yeah, I mean, like that early in his career, that's when he was, winning those Rocket Richards, right? Definitely got better. Yeah, and actually, you can argue the team actually played better last year than what we expected. Arvid Soderblom. Okay, got it. All right, 24 votes. Let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, this is going to get interesting. We've got, it's been interesting this whole time, I would hope. But yeah, the Hawks get 54% for the A tier. Now, granted, they got 25 for the C tier, and 12 for D. Now, the only team that has an A tier vote right now are the Red Wings. So the Red Wings graded out like this. They got 37, 25, 33, and 3. The Hawks are at 54, 8. So they're actually tied with the Red Wings on that front. I think, yeah. Isn't that right? 54 and 8. And then you had 37 and 25. Yeah, 62 and 62. But because they have 54%, I'm going to put the Hawks ahead of the Red Wings. Chicago fans will really like that one. All right, next player. Next team. The Columbus Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets. All right. There's another team that was fairly active. They also got Adam Fantilli, so, definitely throw that into your rankings. All right. Mike Babcock. Oh, yeah. Don't forget that. That's a good point, too. By the way, just one correction here. Sean Corrali is still on the team. I don't know why I thought he was off the team. So they really only lost Gavin Bayreuther and Lane Peterson. They get Ivan Provorov. They did have to pay a pretty penny for him. They also got Damon Severson and signed him to an 8-year deal. They should have Alex Texier back after a year off. That's good. I wish only the best for him. And right now, when you think about the draft with Adam Fantilli, they have what has been ranked by Hockey Prospecting as the #1 prospect pool in the NHL. But they also have Mike Babcock as their head coach. So there's a lot to think about here, I would think. Canucks legend Lane Peterson. He scored 3 goals for you guys? I mean, God, he was such a letdown with the Sharks too. Because he had torn it up in the AHL with Tucson too. Pretty good team. Good offseason for the Hawks. There's a future. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take some time to build around Connor Bedard, but that's the right idea, right? Columbus needed defense, and now they need a legit center. Good point. They only will miss the playoffs because they need a better goaltender. Yeah, I think that's one where you do need that upgrade. So, I mean, Jarmo Kekalainen can be a bit of a madman. Would he make a run at a goaltender like a John Gibson or a Connor Hellebuck? Babs was a misstep, but you think they're going to make the playoffs? Yeah, I've got a couple people telling me they think that they can. I'm not entirely sure too. I'm not entirely sure. Goaltending would be kind of the flaw there because you look at the other 3 teams and I think they have better goaltending noticeably than the Blue Jackets, but maybe the defense is going to actually play a key role in somebody like Elvis Merzlikins rebounding. All right. Oh my gosh, Cortana, what a good girl. All right, so they have Boqvist and Gianni Hockey. 24 votes. I'll give you about 15 seconds left. Ken Dryden and Patrick Waugh won cups as rookies. Good point. Yeah, Dryden, of course, almost won a Stanley Cup every year of his career. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so this looks to at least be a strong B tier. CBJ. So it's going to be 43 for B, 20 for A, 20 for C, and 15 for F. All right. Okay, let's take a look here. So how do they grade versus the Buffalo? The Buffalo Sabres are at the front of the tier. And guess what? These rankings are nearly identical. The Rangers, 6, 62, 12, 18. 12, 18, 662. Yeah. But they got more. I'll put them, let's see here. The Kraken got, where are the Kraken? 15, 47, 31. Okay, good. I found a good spot here. They're going to be just after the Rangers and before the Kraken, or just after the Rangers and ahead of the Kraken. All right, perfect. Will the Marlins make the playoffs? Yeah, the Marlins have been consistently very good this year. I'm stunned. I don't really follow baseball too closely, but with them, boy, you can almost just like, mark them right there to keep playing in October. But yeah, I got to worry about my Giants, man. We got to find our way in. All right, next up, we got the New Jersey Devils, a team that really came out of nowhere last year. One thing with the Devils that I do want to point out, I don't know how much we can attribute their success to him, but Andrew Brunette was one of their associate coaches last year, or assistant coaches. Also got to consider the Timo Meier and Jesper Bratt contracts. NJ killed it. There are some people out there who think Tom Fitzgerald might be one of the best 5 GMs in the NHL. He's making a case. So yeah, they lose Severson and they lose Ryan Graves to fairly sizable free agency contracts. They lose Tatar, who did have, I think, 48 points for them last year. Sharon Govich is lost in that trade with the Calgary Flames, but they get back Tyler Toffoli, who was their best player last year, and they get Colin Miller to kind of make up for some of the losses on defense. Mike Trout and the Angels. Yeah, I know that. Oh, he's going to be out 4 to 8 weeks. I know that they've lost like 9 out of 10 or something like that. It's like, you don't want them to waste Ohtani, right? I can't believe that we actually have a player like him in this era. It's awesome. All right, let's see here. Toffoli's going to pop off. Yeah, do the Devils have the best top 6 in the NHL now? They got to be at least one of the top 3, I would think. This is my like annual or twice a year comment that I actually grew up with Toffoli's wife. We grew up on the same street together. She's cool. Let's see here. Or at least when we were kids, she was cool. I think she hasn't changed too much, and that's a good thing. Yeah, they didn't give up all too much for Toffoli. I do like Sharon Govich, but the Devils can afford to part ways with him. All right, let's take a look here. 25 votes. Awesome. Let's wrap this up in about 15 seconds, guys. You loved what you saw with them last year. They have more talent coming. Yeah, absolutely. Really, Tatar led the league in plus minus. I would never have guessed. That's a good nugget there. Marlins will win the World Series. Hey, if we have to choose a team from the National League who isn't my team, the Giants, I'm fine with the Marlins. That's fine. Will Vanacek stay there or no? Is he a free agent next year? I know that he's still under contract, so it's him and Schmid for now. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, you're a Devils fan, Selected Boy. I'll try to remember that. A lot of Devils fans came to the channel this last year. We had a good time. All right, so 47% B tier, 28 C tier, 20% A tier, and 3% D tier. Okay, Holtz is going to be a full year player. All right, boy, that's awesome when you can afford to have him in the bottom 6 too. You don't have to put him in the top 6 because you're so stacked. All right, now how do they grade out compared to the Blue Jackets? They're basically tied with the Blue Jackets. And the Rangers are kind of a weird one. The Kraken, 47-28. This is 47-31. Yeah, they're basically tied with these teams. I'm going to put them, yeah, I'll put them actually just ahead of the Blue Jackets in this case. All right. That one's pretty easy. All right, now we got the Stars. There you go, Afton. Am I going to do a member stream today too? Probably not. I've got a lot to do for the next sudden death video. Because we're going to drop that. We're going to start making 2 videos a month. That's the plan. So that's going to be one hell of a change, but a fun one for sure. But yeah, I'll keep you posted, guys, members, because we didn't do one this last week because I was in Montana. All right, Eastern Finals, Red Wings. Oh boy, I'd be stunned if they could go that deep this year. But yeah, New Jersey could be very competitive for a while there. Get a good 1995 Stanley Cup Finals rematch. Okay, Dallas. They lost a little depth in the likes of Colin Miller, Luke Glendening on that fourth line. Max Domi walked in free agency to Toronto. They gained Matt Duchene on a 1-year deal at just, I think, $3 million. They pick up Craig Smith, and they also get Sam Steele. Sam Steele, I think, actually had a pretty good season for the Wild last year. They still need to extend Tyler Dellandrea, and I don't know, some people might point out that there was a missed opportunity to buy out Ryan Suter. Savvy moves for a team trying to stay in the hunt for a cup. Yeah, and again, with them, you take out Pavelski, and their best players are all 26 and under. That's saying something, right? When you have Hintz leading the playoffs and scoring, not even going to the final. You had, of course, Robertson off of Egginator. My man, what's going on? What if Waugh played for the Devils and Brodeur played for the Avs and Habs? Oh, God. Then Brodeur would have had, what, 4 cups? Right? Thanks for the $5. I'm going to give Cortana a treat on your behalf. So thank you kindly. And I hope you like what the Kraken are doing in this offseason. Cortana? Over here. All right. Oh. Thank you for funding Cortana's treat fund. Duchene could be a bust. Boy, I'd be happy though that in the sense that he gets. If I were him, I'd be stoked because this is maybe his best chance to get back to the final. Maybe, like I said, the Central Division's pretty weak. I mean, compared to where they've been before, I think that they're taking a bit of a step back just as a whole. Waugh played for the Devils. I mean, who knows? They could have won in what, 2001? Maybe. I mean, Brodeur was an excellent playoff performer in his own right. You know who else was a great playoff performer was Scott Stevens. So again, if you haven't already, go to my newer channel that is Sudden Death Sports because I have a whole feature on Scott Stevens in the playoffs with the Devils specifically. All right. A bust at $3 million on the third line. Yeah, if you want to put Johnston on the second line. He had a great rookie year. Who wins the cup in 2017 if it was the Ottawa versus Nashville? I want to say it would be the Senators. Just for Erik Karlsson for that playoffs that he was having. I would think so. I would think the Senators would have edged him out, probably in 7 games. Of course, the other Stanley Cup that I wish that we could have seen was the Sharks against the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2016, excuse me. And Scott Niedermayer. Yeah, absolutely. If the Sharks had an orange jersey, I wouldn't disown the franchise, but I would be very disappointed. But they're never going to go to orange. Like they've made it very clear that they're never going to have orange in their, as their primary color for any jersey. Let's hope not, at least. Yeah, and they kept Dodonov. That's right. All right, we got 21 votes. Let's finish this up in about 15 seconds. So cast your vote if you've not done that. Dallas Stars are A tier. Yeah, I mean, like, I understand that everybody's got their bias. That's fine. But I mean, I think you can make an argument that they're in the A tier. But I'm still a little bit concerned with how they defend. Ottinger had a bad playoffs, but I don't have any concerns about him. The top 9 is unreal. It is a great top 9 for sure. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wow. Again, very similar in comparison to the last couple of teams. Really, very similar. Let's see what I can do here. Dallas. Thomas, thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate that. A super sticker. All right. Here, let's give Cortana another treat. There we go. Here we go, boo-boo. Yeah, Cortana, keep rolling over. More people will super chat me. All right, let's take a look here. So Dallas grades out, and thank you for your patience while I take note of this. 25 for A tier and 45 for B. C was at 20 and 8. All right. Now, does that mean they grade out better than the Devils? They do. And they grade out better than the Jackets. Now, do they grade out better than the Sabres? They actually do. You know what I'm going to do? Because of that, the B tier is getting full. I know that they're very close to these two teams, but they are better. I'm going to put the Stars in the A tier. All right. Yeah, and the Stars do have a couple of younger defensemen who maybe can take a step forward. In the likes of course, Thomas Harley and Nils Lundqvist. All right, next up we have ourselves the Toronto Maple Leafs. If the Sharks win the cup, I'll dye my hair teal. You know, Riley, I might, if I went to a game, like a playoff game or the Stanley Cup, I might dye my hair teal for that. But yeah, I like where your head's at. All right. Now, do you like where Brad Treliving's head's at? That's what we got to take a look at here. So they did lose some players, guys that they acquired at the trade deadline, like O'Reilly and Achari. They got back Tyler Bertuzzi on a very affordable deal, 1 year, I think like 5 or 5.5. Max Domi at 3 years. Ryan Reeves, I think, didn't they give him multi-year though? John Klingberg gives them a stronger shot from the right side of the blue line. They lost Kerfoot, a good utility player, kind of an unsung hero for that team. And they did lose Michael Bunting as well as one of the top 6 kind of, one of the more nasty players out there to face. Reeves is an awesome signing. He has a great impact on a team, at least initially. Toronto has had a bad offseason. John Klingberg for 4. Yeah, I know that Jay Fresh card does not look good in that bin, but his wins above replacement or whatever is at 0. Wow. He really has fallen off, but I don't know. Maybe they envision him with a certain defenseman playing particularly well together. Hey, Cortana, don't be licking your puppy parts on screen like that. Reeves is going to be 40 when his contract expires. Crikey, I might not even have a YouTube channel then. Whoa, Dustin dropping 20 memberships. Oh my God, that's God tier. Here. Dustin's a Knights fan. Should we put the Golden Knights? I'm just gonna put them in A+ just for a couple of minutes. Holy crikey. Okay, everybody's back on memberships. Oh my goodness. Make more members videos? Shoot, I might have to. Hey guys, can we show some love, excuse me. Show some love for Dustin in the chat. Dustin is for the love of life. And not to mention, it's a Golden Knights fan. It's a Golden Knights fan on a channel with a Sharks fan running it. That's how cool he is. So thank you. It's got to be that Idaho connection. All right. Hey, that's awesome of you, really. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll keep the Knights in the A+ tier for that until the end of the stream when we kind of tinker around a little bit. Some people are going to come in here and they're going to be like, what the hell is this? Anyway, let's go to our next team, and that is, or excuse me, let's look at the poll here. I'm going to close it out. We have enough votes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and uno. All right. Okay, so we've got ourselves The Maple Leafs. They're coming in at 36 for B, 31 for C, 20% for D. I might have to put them in C tier. 11. Okay. Let me take a look at this one. This one's a little tricky. I might have to put them in C tier for it, though. How do they grade compared to the Panthers? That's an important one. The Panthers were 22-18. So that's not quite as good. 31. The Panthers were at 44 for C, but they weren't as bad. But they got more for D tier, didn't they? Interesting. Okay, how do they grade? Just give me a second here, guys. No, they grade out. They're better than the Kings. Not by much, though. I'm going to put the Leafs right about, I want to say right about here. Florida was 22-18. They were 11-36. But they had more for C. Nah, I'll put the Leafs right here. Right about there. All right. Okay, so we have our next team. That's the Philadelphia Flyers. Losing Bunting seems odd. Yeah, maybe, I don't know if it was that they weren't trying to negotiate with him. I haven't really followed that storyline. Let's see here. Next up, we got Philly. All right, let's go here. And yeah, you can definitely consider what they did at the draft. You know, whatever your opinion of Michkov is, by the way. Let's see here. So we need, I need to put up the poll. Excuse me. Oh, wait, you know what we got to do? We have to give Cortana some treats, too, for Dustin's donation here. A plus. B. Now, the Flyers might not be done in the offseason in the sense that they could be, shopping Travis Konechny. And you could also say the same regarding, who am I thinking of? Carter Hart. Those guys are free agents at the end of next year. By the way, folks, if you were gifted a membership, I'll actually be able to communicate with you directly on YouTube, and I'll be sure to send out some information. We do have an Instagram chat group that you're welcome to join for the duration of your membership. So that would be 30, a 30-day period. You are permitted to that. There we go. All right, Samantha, what's going on? How you doing? Avalanche have had a challenging offseason, but I think they've done well for their situation. Trevor, what's going on? That Instagram chat group could get a little busy recently in the coming days here, because we just had 20 new members, at least temporarily, join us on a great gift here from Dustin for the love of life. You can take the nights back off. Fair enough. Thank you for your donation there. But even though they were at the C tier, they'll be at the front of the C tier. Okay, Flyers are tragic. I mean, personally, I would give them a good grade. I think they've done a good job. They got a lot in return for Ivan Provorov. And, of course, the signings from them, not overly impressive, but that will help them stay at the cap floor. Do I have Instagram? Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just Twisted Wrister Hockey. Yeah. Great to see all the new members up in here. All right. Junie joins. What's going on? A for what they're doing, but they'll be bad on purpose. Yeah. He inherited a tough situation from that regime. We have 25 votes. I'll give you guys about 10 seconds left. Yeah. D'Angelo will be gone. Yeah, we got to see what happens with that situation, because there was, it almost looked like they had agreed to a deal, but then things have stalled since then. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Threads, I don't expect to. There's only so much social media I can do, and I mean, really, that's such a minor part of what I do on, related to my actual work here. Philadelphia, you don't like them? All right, we're gonna go with 37 for the B tier, 29 for the C tier, 22 for D tier. So they didn't get the most gracious of grades, but let's take a look here. Basically, they're right next to the Maple Leafs. They graded out almost identically. So thank you for making my work here easier. I'm going to give them a higher grade than Toronto, though. All right. Yeah, the Flyers need 2 centers for sure. All right. Next team are the Edmonton Oilers. Ooh, this is a curious one. Here were the Oilers. This team was, they came in hot into the playoffs. They were the hottest team in the NHL down the stretch. And then they got humbled in the second round. Kings always, the last couple of years, the Kings have given them a tough run for the first round. All right. Miss the Blues. What should they expect from Kevin Hayes? You don't follow the Flyers as much. I don't expect him to have a huge impact if they want to put him, on the second line, because they have missed some talent there as well. I can't even remember. Is Brandon Saad going to be out like a second line player for them? So yeah, then it starts to look like you have a third line as playing as the second line. So maybe a third line center he could kick ass out there. All right. So cast your vote if you've yet to do so. The Oilers still have some cap space left because of the buyouts. They bought out Yamamoto, they bought out Kostin, or they didn't re-sign him. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. They have some cap space, but don't forget Evan Bouchard's going to command a fair amount. I think he played great for them, and Ryan McLeod, not Michael McLeod. And so far they've added Connor Brown for a little depth scoring, and they've lost a couple other players in depth roles. The Oilers are nothing without McDavid and Draisaitl. Yeah, it'd be really interesting if, I sure as hell don't hope this happens, but imagine if they lost one of them. What would happen, right? Nuge is a great player too, but then it would get a little bit more dicey, with some of the teams getting better in that division. Or could they be better than, or would they still be as good as a team like the Kings? I don't know. That'd be tough. All right, we got 23 votes. I'll give you about 10 more seconds here, so sound off if you've yet to do so. And I don't know exactly how the gift boxes work, but you're welcome. You can try clicking on the actual gift box icon. I think that we might have a few left over. But excuse me if I'm wrong. You don't see them being better this year. Draisaitl and McDavid are already doing everything they can. Yeah, you can clearly see it here. It's not like they're, it's not like they have some stud young Broberg, sure, right, but it's not like they have a couple players who are going to take a big step forward in their career next year, or at least they don't have enough of them to where I think that they improved. Hey, thanks, Robbie. I appreciate that. That's kind of you. All right. Anyway, let's close out this poll. Oh no, the Oilers look like they're going to go to the doghouse here. Okay. Edmonton, Ken Holland, not your best work. What do I want to do here? 39% for the D tier, 26 for C, 26 for B, and 8 for A. Okay. All right, the Oilers, they're going to go in the D tier, unfortunately. Now, do they grade out worse than any other team in the D tier? We have Boston and we have the Islanders. We got Boston 8, 17, 30, 43. Okay, so they're not as bad as the Bruins, but they're still going to go right here at the front of the D tier. All right. Had a roster full of minus or close to evens and somehow made the playoffs. I don't read a whole lot in a plus minus. I think that at times it can kind of help tell a narrative. All right. All right. Our next team are the Pittsburgh Penguins. There you go, Mike. Very busy offseason. Kyle Dubas came in right away. Him and Jason Spezza, don't forget him. And yeah, they just started making moves, doing deals. All right. So here's who they lose, first of all. Among this group, I think the biggest loss has to be Brian Dumoulin for, he played very well defensively for a decade or so. And then they had Jason Zucker also leave after a good bounce back from him, I have to say. And overall, they lost a little bit of depth, right? They get back Lars Eller as possibly a third line center. This is a team that otherwise you have Jeff Carter, and certainly, age has kind of caught up with him. They got Ryan Graves inked to a long-term deal, probably to play what I would think would be second pairing defense. Riley Smith, they get some more scoring for the middle six, and they get some more depth. Things like, or players like Achari and Nieto, those guys are almost strictly like penalty killers. Achari, he hits everything that moves out there. And so you can argue that maybe they did actually upgrade when you look at the left column and compare that to the right column. So, yeah, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this one. Does this look like a team that has improved? Or is this a team that might have improved, but it's getting a little long in the tooth? And who knows? Maybe they aren't done yet. Maybe they want to offload a contract to like Mikhail Granlund or Jeff Petrie or both, and maybe get something back in return that can have more impact on the team this next year. Should have went after a goalie. You don't think that Jari has it anymore? I mean, I didn't watch the playoffs last year or this past year with, the Penguins weren't in the playoffs. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, I still think he's a good goaltender. I think they could use an upgrade maybe at backup because then they have a pretty strong tandem. Gibson wants $6 million a year. He's not worth it. Yeah, at least Jari stays healthy, at least comparatively. We'll put people on their roster. This team will still miss the playoffs. Yeah, I'm curious to see kind of who is that team that finishes fourth in the Metro. But this is a year where we could see 5 teams in the Atlantic make the playoffs. I think some of you out there might agree with me when I say that. When he's healthy, he could be a top 10 goaltender. I wouldn't say outright no. All right. Let's close out the poll. Let's see, how many votes do we have? Yeah, 20 votes. I'll give you about 10 seconds if you've yet to cast a vote, so go for it. All right. So we go the Penguins. Okay. Closing it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So 22 for A, 40 for B, 18 and 18. Fleury's still with Minnesota. Yeah, he is. I think he's got just 1 year left on his deal. All right. This looks very familiar to a pattern that we've been seeing. Teams like, we had, for example, Dallas was rated in the A tier. They graded out better. Yeah, but not by much. So I'm going to look at Buffalo. Buffalo, 20-45, 25-8. Yeah, basically the Penguins are in the same camp as the Sabres and maybe the Rangers. I personally like what the Penguins did more than the Rangers. I'll have them second in line in the B tier. All right. Next up, we've got the Coyotes. And of course, you can certainly weigh what they did at the draft here. They had two first round picks, I think. And I think they had a bunch of second rounders. Boy, they have 10 second round picks over the next 3 years. 10. Gotta credit Bill Armstrong for that. And this offseason, yeah, they actually got themselves some upgrades. They're not just taking on bad contracts. They get Sean Durzi for just a second rounder. They get Jason Zucker. Coyotes, I think, could use that, a little bit stronger presence from their defensemen offensively. Zucker, Alex Kerfoot, possibly a third line player there, and Nick Bugstad for some depth at center. You can consider that Dylan Guenther could be on the roster next year. I don't think that like Connor Geeky would be ready for that just yet, or Logan Cooley's still in college. But boy, talk about someone to look forward to in the years ahead. And they do lose a little bit of depth, but not a whole lot. I think they've actually added a lot more than they've lost. So yeah, what do you guys think of of the Coyotes. You like what they did? Toria says, I feel bad for the Yotes. Hopefully we're not saying that in about 2 years. You don't like their draft this year. Yeah, I think that you could factor that in. They definitely were one of the teams criticized for their first round selections. Not to say, again, this was a deep draft class, excuse me. So their picks could easily be full-time NHL players, but I hear you. They let their stud D-man go in Chychrun. Hope the Coyotes stay in Arizona. I hope so too. But they got to get it right this time, I think. All right, so where do we have the Coyotes? We got 21 votes. I'll give you about 10 seconds, so cast your vote if you've yet to do so. They're finally done taking on everyone's bad contracts. Yeah, that's what I don't know if it was specifically Armstrong, but that was a message from the front office in the offseason. And I like that they put their money where their mouth is. I think it's about high time, so I got to credit them. Was +7 on a bad team. An honorable mention for the most cursed team. I can't remember if they were. All right. Because you could easily put them in that conversation. All right, let's close it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Where do we have the Yotes? You know what? I'm going to do something. I'm going to actually promote and demote a couple of teams. I want to put the Sabres and the Penguins in the A tier. I want to put the Hawks and the Red Wings at the A+ level. I want to kick a couple teams down to the D tier. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have to fail a couple teams here. I'm going to demote the Flames, the Blues, and I know the Kevin Hayes deal was a valuable one, but just to kind of even things out, that's what I'm going to do. So we're not just stuck on B's and C's. I'm also going to... No, I'll hold off for now. You're not happy at all? I mean, I think this was the less is more approach. All right, let's look at the Coyotes. They graded out pretty well. They were 36% for B tier, 27 for A tier, 27 for C, and just 9 for DF. So considering the Penguins were basically the same, actually the Coyotes grade out about the same. I'm going to put the Coyotes right here in the A tier. Flip the Jets and Knights. I might demote the Jets. That's what I'm thinking I might do. All right, now we get to the Anaheim Ducks. Again, a team that has struggled for a number of years, but they actually spent on a couple free agents. They did last year too, but coming off the season he did, Killorn, and just with his pedigree, I think that certainly warrants some praise. And of course, they drafted Leo Carlson. They have a multitude of other draft picks to look forward to in the subsequent years, and we might see more top prospects. They got a couple of stud defensemen like Olin Zellweger. Anyway, just some food for thought for you. All right. Ducks passed on Fantilli. Yeah, some out there their opinion might be altered. There we go. Let me zoom in on that a little bit more. There we go. That looks a lot prettier. Good future, but the next season will be a goose egg. I will say I expect them not to finish last. They'll finish ahead of the Sharks, I'm pretty sure. All right. So we got the Ducks. All right. How are we doing with this? We have 16 votes. Okay. Keep them coming, everybody. San Jose is really bad. I think AHL teams can beat them. Yeah, if they trade for Carlson, I'd absolutely agree with you. Or they trade Carlson away. The Ducks as a whole, you like what they're doing right now? Mike, man, too generous, too thoughtful, buddy. Haven't done become a member. Dude, what he said. Thanks, man. Hey, let's give Cortana some more treats. We got some more here. And don't worry, folks, these aren't just biscuits. We've got organic apples, blueberries, and I do have her glucosamine supplements here as well. That's a good way to keep your dog healthy and active. All right. Yeah, you know who also got paid was Radko Gudas. But yeah, Killorn's kind of like, you know how Shannon has his has the THG Hall of Fame. Killorn to me is like a Twisted Wrister Hall of Fame. I'm a big fan. All right. Boss man Mike Thompson. All right. And there you go. He does spread a good message. Become a member of the channel. All right. Let's close this out. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Interesting. Okay. So they had what? 20% for A. They had, let's see here, 28% for B, but 36 for C and 15 for D. All right, let's compare them to the Golden Knights. That's because, again, the plurality was a C. So the Knights, 21, 21, 34, 21. The Ducks are basically in the same camp as the Knights. Versus the Flyers, they grade better than the Flyers. Actually, no, check that. Yeah, I'd say that they grade a little bit better. I'll put the Ducks right next to the Knights. All right. The Ducks need to rebrand. Oh, hell yeah, they do. What do you guys think of the 30th anniversary jersey, by the way? You know, the eggplant with the shoulder logo now at the center and altered a little bit. All right. The gifts, turned on gifts, but nothing happened. Maybe it's because all 20 of them have been claimed. I'm not entirely sure. Because it would have had your name in green. It would have said like, let's see here. I'd have to scroll up a ton here. But those memberships might already be claimed already. But yeah, if you have any questions about that, you can email me or get in touch with me on Instagram's fine too. That information's always in the video description. Dude, Mike, can we get some love from Mike in the chat here? Killing it, man. Killing it. Fire content. All right. Let's get to the next team, right? It's my Sharks. All right. Dono hype, indeed. All right. And guys, there's no need to sugarcoat any opinions on the Sharks on this channel. All right. Let's recap the Sharks here before. Wait, Cortana didn't get her other treat here. She needs another treat. Here we go, boo. All right. So the Sharks, their biggest offseason move so far is trading for Anthony Duclair. And it only cost us like a 5th rounder in Steven Lorentz. We get him for only a year, but he'll be fun to watch. I do like him. Just a little bit of depth in the lineup and some depth lost. And they also got Mackenzie Blackwood. I think that's the other big deal. Given that the first 2 seasons of his career in the NHL were awesome, actually. And he did that on mostly not that good of a team. So I got to credit Greer. I think he's done a good job. And of course, you got to factor in that they got Will Smith 4th overall. They had another pick in the 1st round. And with that, they drafted Quentin Musty. But Greg makes a good point. I like that, Greg. Oh, shoot. EK65 is going to be gone. I hope so, just for everybody's sake. Picking up Duclair was a steal, you'll say B. And Mike throwing in another one. Look at this guy. Good girl, Corsana. Killed it at the draft. Yeah. I'm happy to see the Sharks actually grade out as one of the better 5 or 6 teams at the draft. The 30th has to be one of the more underwhelming jerseys. Yeah, I'm a little I don't really like the striping very much. I don't like the logo treatment so much either, even though I do like that shoulder logo. I think it's overall okay. IMO middle of the road for the Ducks jersey. Not hating on it either. Oh, for the Sharks. I see. You're hoping. Why isn't Carlson a forward? Yeah, I wonder the same thing as well. But it's got to be that transition offense that he catalyzes. All right, 21 votes. I'll give you about 15 more seconds, folks. Yeah, but if I were to grade the Sharks offense, I'd kind of straddle the line there, or not offense, off season, excuse me. I got to say, they did a good job at the draft. You got to give them some love there. Super treat from Nick. Nick kicking ass here. Thank you so much, man. I might have to go get Cortana some more apples or something. All right. Let's give her a couple of these. So yeah, I'd straddle the line for the Sharks with probably either a, I might give them like a B+. I mean, if they can get something for Erik Karlsson, I would upgrade the offseason. But yeah, I think it's B+. Oh my God, Cortana's gonna get that one was you. That was yours, Mike. Cortana's gonna get real chonky off these apples, right? Karlsson to Carolina would be awesome. That is our next topic. Yeah, I'm very intrigued about that situation right now. Thanks, guys. Screwed up with Pavelski. Yeah, big time. All right, let's close it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay, so Sharks are getting B and C. 21, 34, 34, 8. All right. Okay, since they're straddling the line here, I'm going to compare them to the Knights here. The Knights graded out 21, 21, 34. Okay, the Sharks do grade better than the Knights. So the Sharks are at least going in the B tier. Do they grade out better than the Jets? The Jets were 14, 33. No, the Sharks grade out better as well. Let's jump ahead here. How do they grade versus a team like the Blue Jackets or the Kraken for that matter? 15, 47, 31. That one's interesting. That's pretty comparable. This is pretty comparable. Let me think on this here, guys. You know, it's the Sharks. We got to make sure we get this right. Yeah, I might put them right after the Kraken, between the Kraken and maybe the Avalanche. Avalanche were 947, 33. Yeah, I'll probably put Tampa. Tampa's another good team to look at here, of course. The Bolts, 742, 28, 21. All right. I'm going to put the Sharks right here next to the Canadiens. Right there. Oops. They're going to be... No, I want to be between the Habs. There we go. They're the Sharks. I'd have them probably about right here. But yeah. We'll add them right there. That's pretty good. Which logo do you hate? The Preds logo is a top 5? Yeah, not in my opinion. Proportionately, it's just kind of weird. I like the mascot though. Nash is pretty dope. Okay, I'd rather have Duclair than Newhook. Yeah, but you get Duclair just for a year at a very affordable cap hit. All right, next team, it's the Hurricanes. So yeah, are they done? I don't know. I personally don't know what they were thinking with signing Orlov to a 15-year deal over 2 years, or $15 million deal over 2 years for already what has been the best defense in maybe the Eastern Conference, or at least a second best defense. So yeah, that is puzzling to me. But I mean, the guy's good. Their defense is incredible right now. They retained both Anderson and Ranta in goal. Michael Bunting, I like the signing. Is that going to be enough for the forward group? I don't think so. If they can somehow get a little bit more of progression from somebody like Seth Jarvis, who made a lot of progression this last year, really like him, then that might help them. Second line center is Kotkaniemi. I do like him. He's not a stud at that position though. Yeah, D'Angelo could be part of the mix too. Need to move on from Freddie. Yeah, I think it's a team that, considering it's kind of like the Islanders, right? They're built so heavily with how well they're able to keep the puck out of the net. I think that if they want to stay with that as their, port of call, then they do need a better goaltender. But Freddie has done a good job. I know it's kind of a tough one to explain here. We need some water. That's okay. We're almost done. Avs, Lightning, Habs, the Lightning, and the final. I see. Oh yeah, Kraken and Avs, and yeah, Habs met the Lightning. We've never had West Side Story in the playoffs though, between the Jets and Sharks. We're going to be a ways off from getting to that point. For trimming the fat year after year, now they've come out and made intentions for their cup clear. Kind of see what you're saying there. You can't say they're not going for it. But yeah, they lost some good contributors. From this group, I think Gostisbehere is the big name. But is Orlov an upgrade over Gostisbehere? Yeah, of course. But I wonder, though, who's going to be the power play quarterback on the second unit? Because, Gostisbehere did a really good job with that, even though they're not that good of a power play, right? Hopefully Bunting can be a difference maker there. Sharks could be it. Yeah, Sharks aren't making the playoffs until at least 2026. At least. But they paid him too much. Yeah, select a boy. Now, granted, Brent Burns earns more, but the Hurricanes are paying less for Burns than they are for Orlov because the Sharks retain some salary. Jacob Slavin, for Christ's sake, is the third highest paid defenseman on this team. Third or fourth. All right. One of those teams that remind you of Washington before they won the Cup. You know what? I don't, and I can kind of see what you mean. We'll have the Cinderella story next year. Great question. I mean, I'm kind of curious about the Sabres. Yeah, that's probably it. He will take less to win the Cup. He is a Lady Byng Trophy winner, so we do have to consider that. All right, where are we with the Hurricanes? 24 votes. Let's close this out in about 10 seconds. All right. We're closing this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Yeah, it's dead even. So what do we do when it's dead even? We're going to put them at the back of one tier, or we're going to put them at the front of another tier. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stick them, since the plurality is with the C tier, I'll put them at the front of the C tier. And I think that's a fair grade for them too. They made upgrades, but they do have losses. And who knows though? They might not be done, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting a little winded here. We've been live for 2 hours. All right. We've got 3 teams left though. We got the Wild. Now, don't forget with the Wild that the next 2 years are very trying for them, with having $14.7 million tied up. A T-shirt in the mail. Oh, nice. The Bedard one. Awesome. Yeah, but the $14.7 million are tied up in Parisi and Suter. So there's only so much that Bill Guerin could do in this offseason. They lost Reeves, Steele, Nyquist. So they did lose contributors on that team, Matt Dumba being one of them. They get Pat Maroon. That's about it. Just give me a second. I need to get some water. Just one moment. All right. Who's Coach Chippy? I don't know, actually. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just a pro tip. Pro tip: if you feel like you're starting to get like a mild headache, drink some water. That's a good thing to do. Because I think I was dehydrated a little bit there. Okay, 18 votes. Let's keep them coming. I'll give you about 15 more seconds here. Pat Maroon almost guarantees you a cup. Yeah, if he can stick around for like 3 years, maybe then the Wild will have some of those prospects coming in and making an impact. Boldy's already a star. So, this is where I think the Wild to me are a textbook case of needing to take a step backward in order to take 2 steps forward eventually. All right. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Wild. This one's a little tough too, right? Because they were pretty evenly dispersed with just 5% for the top tier. Rossi's already a bust. I think it's too early. I think he needs more opportunity. But I haven't been tracking what he's done with the Iowa Wild. Does anybody play NHL 23? No, I don't. Let's see here. So yeah, I think we're gonna put them in the C tier, just because we put the Hurricanes in the C tier, and they actually got sizable votes for the top tier. So to me, this team's gonna slide. I will put them. Boy, I don't know exactly where to put them. I would probably just smack them right in the middle of the C tier. That's probably just the best I can do at this moment. Right about there. All right, we got the Predators. Boy, this one will be interesting as well. The Predators, it's not just this offseason. It really is, we're not factoring in the trade deadline, but the trade deadline last year had a big impact on this team as well. The Ice Hawks play 14 times this year. Rossi looked like a non-factor. Really? Boy, that's not exactly good news. All right, Predators. They, of course, have a new GM in Barry Trotz, new head coach. That's Andrew Brunette. And they dealt away Ryan Johansson. They retained half his salary for 2 years. They bought out Matt Duchene. And they acquired Ryan O'Reilly. They spent a decent amount of change. I think it was a 5x5 deal or 4x5. And they added a little bit of depth on top of that. And you can also factor in their draft picks because I think they had 2 first rounders. Too much term to older players. Don't understand the Duchene buyout. It was steep. I know that Trotz has been, since he came in, was talking a lot about changing up the culture. I don't know how Duchene was subtracting from the culture that he wanted on the team. But anyway, they need to retool. Yeah. I think Trotz actually used the word reset, which is basically the same thing, I would think. Roman Josi, how long is Josi on the books for? Josi, let's see here. The Preds have a bunch of draft picks next year too, and they have 2 first rounders in 2025. Josi is on the books for quite a while, 5 more years at a $9 million cap hit. So that's the big contract. They have a couple other ones, but that's the real big one. Yeah, but let me know your thoughts, everybody. And then, of course, we're going to finish things off with the Ottawa Senators. Cool. All right, 18 votes. Let's give you about 15 more seconds to cast a vote here. By the way, if you have any questions from earlier that I haven't answered yet, feel free to just tag me in the chat. I'll do my best there. Starting goalie is Yusei Saros, although the Preds had entertained a Saros trade at the deadline last year. So could that be something that heats up again in the offseason? Maybe so, maybe so. There are other teams that need that goaltender, and I think Saros is really affordable too. He's only under contract, I think, for 2 more years at $5 million. That's a steal, dude. That's a steal. Best movie of all time. I mean, boy, what are we just talking about? Any sort of film? Are we talking about my favorite film? I mean, my favorite film is The Sandlot because I grew up on that film. And, it's a sports movie too, right? And it's a great movie because it was a great kids movie and adults loved it too. So there you go. It's The Sandlot. Why not? I think you mentioned Star Wars earlier, so of course, The Empire Strikes Back is easily one of my favorite films ever. Slapshot and Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Absolutely. I love the Holy Grail. That is one of the funniest movies. It's so weird, but it's hilarious. Jaws. You know what's funny? I've never seen Jaws. There are actually a lot of movies I haven't seen. I can Wreck-It Ralph is a masterpiece. It was a really good movie. I liked it a lot. Okay. John, I'll try to get to your question in just a second here. Let's close this out. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Don't forget Office Space if we're talking about cult classics. Do coaches usually turn into GMs down the line? Barry Trotz. That's a good point. Wasn't Joe Sakic a head coach for a hot minute with the Avs? I know they had Joe Sacco. But yeah, off the top of my head, I'll have to think on that a little bit here. But Preds are 21. Oh shoot! Wait, where do we even put the Wild? Oh, in the C tier. Sorry, I didn't even record the results for Minnesota. I love how many Minnesota fans are coming into my cursed sports teams video. By the way, I've had a lot of fun seeing those come in because everybody knows I'm a huge Vikings fan. Avs had Patrick Waugh as coach. Oh, okay. Do I watch Wimbledon? No, I used to watch. I don't really watch many other sports besides hockey. I just pop in a little bit here and there for baseball and football. I used to watch a little tennis though. I used to teach tennis to kids, and yeah. Let's see here. So where are we going to put the Preds? They seem again right smack dab in the middle. I'm going to give them a B myself. I'll put them right here. Right there. Right there. Anybody remember that song? All right. We got ourselves to finish things up. The Ottawa Senators. And that's a team whose offseason we think could be incomplete at this point. But yeah, any other coaches who became GMs afterwards? I know that there's one who was doing kind of all that at one point. I think that sort of thing was a lot more common, 100 years ago or even 60 years ago, John, in the sense that, you'd have one person be in charge of coaching and player personnel. You used to have that. Now you, of course, have divided that role up as the game has evolved or as the sport has gotten bigger. Let's see here. Oh, one of your friends loves the Tour de France? Yeah, I don't really like watching racing on TV so much, unless it's like downhill snowboarding or something. Ottawa Senators, I don't want to leave them out to dry here. Jonas Corposalo is their biggest offseason acquisition, and he was signed to a pretty fat deal. Cam Talbot leaves. We'll have to see what happens with DeBrincat, and they lose some depth as well. But this is a team that's carried by its top players for sure. Right there. Yeah, Joe Mama, you know it. Yeah, I'll have to put that on my playlist right after Air Force One. You know what I mean? Reinhardt for DeBrincat. Reinhardt's a great player. I don't think he gets enough praise for what he can do defensively. Two different types of wingers for sure. Either Back to the Future or the first Star Wars movie. I haven't seen Back to the Future since I was a kid, so I'd have to go back and rewatch it. But yeah, favorite that I grew up with was The Sandlot. They might get Tarasenko. Oh, the Senators? I can kind of see that happening. Yeah, if they lose to Brinkett. All right. How are we doing in the poll here, everybody? 19 votes. Okay, I'll give you about 15 more seconds. Have been trying to buy the Senators. No, I mean, remember, they're part of like ownership groups, so they're not trying to like put everything they have into them. But yeah, what's going on with that front? I know that they were sold, right? Or at least initially the Melnick sisters and their group had agreed to a sale. I haven't been keeping up, honestly. Korpisalo could be 50-50. Yeah, I'm not a big Korpisalo guy. I know he played well for the Kings, but he's had some pretty bad stretches in his own right. All right. Let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Did I see Cocaine Bear yet? No, I have not. I do want to actually see that. Okay, the Senators. Now, the worst team in the C tier or the D tier are the Calgary Flames. Calgary grades out worse. But the Sens are probably going in the D tier. 62, 18, 42, 37. Yeah, that would do it. That would do it. 62, 18. 1 second here. I can get this. 30. Yeah, Ottawa Senators are going. I'm going to put them at the end of the D tier. Comparatively, that's where they land. All right. Well, guys, what do you think of these grades? I might make my next video a comparison of my grades to yours. What were the Blues grades? So the Blues were 0 for A tier, 18 for B, 62 for C, and 18 for D. So this is me grading on a curve. So in other words, they graded out worse than almost every team. Yeah, the majority, and really for a stream like this, a B tier and C tier are always going to get the majority of grades. You were surprised by the Penguins? Yeah. Again, it's pretty much we had like 20 teams in B tier, but the Pens did grade out better than a couple others. Dallas, the only team in the A tier. Oh, it was the only playoff team. Oh, don't count out the Sabres. I know what you're saying, though. Nothing massive has happened in the offseason. Yeah. I mean, there have been some key signings, but yeah, free agency obviously was a lot less maddening, But yeah, we could still have a couple of big trades, possibly. Remember, Erik Karlsson got traded right when camp was starting 5 years ago. Oops. All right. Any more questions for me, folks? And just want to thank you again, Mike and Nick, and I think it was Thomas, right, for the super chats earlier, and Dustin for gifting 20 memberships. If you were gifted a membership, look out for a community post. I'm going to just kind of give you some info there. But yeah, there you are, Thomas. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And like I said, this could be the next video that I make with my own grades. I need to also start producing content on like breakout players to watch for next year. I did that by position last year. I might do that, and I might do like predicting the leading goal scorers, leading point scorers, and all that sort of thing. Would I ever get a duck? Yes, I would. I would want to have some acreage, and I would get maybe a couple ducks for their eggs. Duck eggs are pretty good. So great question. I love that one. The greatest musician of all time. I mean, I don't have the strongest stance on who it is, but I certainly have lots of names I can throw in that hat. Zegras. Yeah, there you go. That'd be fun. I could do that. Member stream soon? Yes, we'll have one in the next week. Within the next week. It'll probably be a weekday, just like the logo roundtable rankings that we've been doing with that. But yeah, musician of all time. I mean, like I got to show some love for Jimi Hendrix, especially living somewhat near Seattle. And of course, like I'm thinking about, contemporary music. I'm not going to say like Mozart or Bach or Beethoven because I really don't know too much about them. Queen is the greatest. I like Queen. I don't love Queen. I like Queen though. And the film Bohemian Rhapsody was awesome. Not to mention, I mean, Queen has to be attributed for one of the greatest film scenes in 1990s movie or 1990s film, which is Wayne's World, right? My friends in high school, we recreated that scene. Jets logo underrated. Interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't think it's like bad or anything, But anyway, Lightning too. Yeah, maybe not so much for me there. Michael Jackson. I mean, Michael Jackson is the 80s, right? All right. Any more questions here? Past 10 p.m. All right. Well, thank you for joining us all the way from across the pond, as we like to say here. Have a good evening, Jack. You would get a pet duck and name him King. Ducking? All right. Thanks, Robbie. Evan Rodriguez for a breakout? I mean, that's the thing with the Panthers. It doesn't matter who the wingers are. Whoever you plug in the top 9 can have a kick-ass season at the wing. I mean, look at Verhaeghe. It's a 40-goal scorer now. Isn't that crazy? All right. The World Cup in 2026, I have no idea. Let's say, I don't know, Colombia? Maybe Colombia? Is cereal soup? I can't. If it's not hot, no. Then that begs the question: is oatmeal soup? No, but soup is supposed to be like mostly savory. Even though you can have sweet ingredients in soup, like coconut milk soup is like one of the greatest things ever invented. Best live concert was Weird Al. I went to a great Slayer show a few years ago in San Francisco. That's one of my favorites. And I've been to some great festivals, metal and punk festivals from back in the day. Will Kevin Durant get another ring? Oh, man. I'm not the person to ask when it comes to the NBA. Is he staying on the Suns? If not, or if he is, then no, because as you'll see in my most cursed sports teams video, the Suns are the most cursed team in the NBA. Nadal or Djokovic? I think Rafa Nadal, if he wouldn't have had the injuries that he had that plagued him, he might be the greatest to ever play. At least he's the greatest clay court, clay court competitor out there among men. Or just period, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, like, it's hard for me not to want to put Federer, in that conversation as well, because Federer's like, I don't know, he's just an icon, right? And so is Nadal too. But yeah, Djokovic has the most majors. Oatmeal is not soup. Slayer, yes. You went to a concert at Wembley. That's cool. I've technically been to London 3 times. I've never been to Wembley though. Pineapple doesn't go on pizza. Oh, blasphemy. It depends on the kind of pizza. There are only a couple of types where it's acceptable. Guar? Oh, you've seen guar? Oh, man. I've never really been drawn to them so much. But I mean, I love some theatrics with concerts, let's be honest. Will Asuka get a win at WrestleMania? I have no idea, but I'll say yes. A Suns fan back in the days of Kevin Johnson. I know that, KJ. Messi or Ronaldo? As somebody who doesn't watch soccer, I have no idea, but my friend is a huge Real Madrid fan, so I'll say Ronaldo. On the Vikes this season, I mean, you still have a shot at winning the division. The Lions have to show up a little bit defensively, as long as here's how I see it. Here, Jake, you'll get this one. Think about the way the offensive line improved last year versus the year before. If we get the same from the defense this year, then we'll be just fine. Best Star Wars movie? Empire Strikes Back. Wasp Slayer. Oh, Wasp was booed off the stage. I mean, Slayer fans, what they would do when like Metallica played, Slayer fans would literally turn their backs to the stage. That's how nutty some of them can be. An Oilers Leafs Cup final. That would be awesome. I'm not like a big fan of either team, but it would be great if just one of those teams won. I personally would like the Oilers to win. I'd love to see McDavid win a Stanley Cup and Draisaitl too. Let's see here. Least favorite sport. Boy, I don't know. I because it's not really fair if I don't follow the sport to say it's my least favorite. I'm not a big fan of how the NBA has evolved. It's so high scoring now, and I know that football is more high scoring, and so is hockey. But I'll be sure to pass that on, Riley. Thank you. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the NBA's dynamics as much. But back in the day, loved it. Best film score. I can't say off the top of my head. John Williams, I am a fan. I also really like Thomas Newman. One of my favorite soundtracks from him is Road to Perdition. That's a great soundtrack. And also, I got to throw it down for Daft Punk for the Tron Legacy soundtrack. Awesome. Is Cortana an ESA? I mean, she probably could be, but not technically. Steffi Graf is the best tennis player of all time. Yeah, she might be. You could argue she's the most dominant to ever do it. Concert with Slipknot in 2003. I never really got into Slipknot that much. I don't know. I like some of those, popular, some of those more popular new metal, alternative metal bands from the era. But yeah, I don't know. Big time, there are a lot of like diehard Corey Taylor fans though. The Rocky theme, yes, absolutely iconic. As is the opener for Chariots of Fire, or at least you know what I'm talking about. All right. MLB, NHL, Kroenke sucks, NFL. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to peace out here. We've been live for almost 2.5 hours. Please do hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. And stick around. We'll have more content like this throughout the offseason. And I'd like to do, streams. If I could get at least a stream every other week, that'd be awesome. But yeah, I've got my hands full with all sorts of content, which I need to get back to right now. Anyway, guys, have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. And again, thank you to everybody who donated. New members, I will send out a post with some information. And yeah, thank you again. It's been great hanging out with you. Hopefully we get some big trades, right? We need some big trades.